Welcome back as we reopen this active investigation.
You have likely seen those relentless headlines about the Lynette Hooker case.
But everything the public has been told so far is about to be utterly shattered.
If you think you know what happened, prepare yourself. A major new update has turned this active investigation completely upside down, and the details are absolutely chilling.
Lynette's mother, Darlene Hamlet, just broke her silence after the federal search teams packed up.
And her words are truly haunting. She directly targeted Brian, exposing a dark truth that will freeze your blood. If he really did this, he took her final breath and simply tossed her away like garbage.
Darlene looked straight at the cameras and said, "He took her last breath, then threw her away like trash."
The raw grief and anger in her voice has shaken everyone who heard it, shining a harsh light on a cowardly betrayal no one saw coming. This changes everything. Hit that like button and subscribe right now because we are going directly into this heavy new evidence. Do not miss a single second of this, or you will miss the real story. Now, let us examine the evidence. Federal search teams have officially packed up their gear in the Abaco Islands, but they did not leave empty-handed. In fact, what the United States Coast Guard and Bahamian police just brought back to Miami is sending massive shockwaves through this entire case. For weeks, people thought Brian Hooker's story of a tragic boating accident might actually hold up. He claimed the vessel's engine died. The keys sank into the deep ocean with Lynette, and he was left drifting helplessly in the wind. But new forensic data logs from the boat's power system completely shatter that timeline. How could a boat with no power make a deliberate, sharp left turn and steer directly south along the coast? It makes absolutely no sense. The ocean currents do not work that way. This proves Brian was never drifting. He was actively steering the vessel. But why would he lie about something so incredibly massive? Well, Lynette's mother, Darlene, believes this was never an accident. She knows exactly how Brian treated her daughter over their 25 years together. The chilling truth is that this was not their first violent encounter. Detectives are now closely examining a terrifying past incident, where Brian allegedly choked Lynette until she nearly lost consciousness. And do you want to hear the most disturbing part? The very next morning, he openly admitted he wished he had finished the job. This brings up the massive question you are probably asking right now. Why did she ever go back to him? Her family says she loved him deeply and truly hoped they could build a peaceful life together on their yacht. But behind those beautiful travel videos, a dark financial storm was brewing. Lynette was a dedicated employee at AT&T for years, climbing telephone poles to earn a steady living. To Brian, she was basically a personal lottery ticket. So, what happens when a toxic partner realizes his golden ticket is about to walk away forever? When you analyze his actions, the timeline of that tragic night becomes even more terrifying. Brian believed he could simply wipe the digital footprint and walk away free. He was a skilled mechanic who understood machinery. So he likely believed that erasing the main engine logs would protect his dark secrets. Then came a devastating twist that caught him completely off guard. Coast Guard investigators successfully extracted the vessel's internal battery telemetry logs. These hidden files recorded every minute voltage shift and power fluctuation. The digital data proves the boat did not simply steer left. Instead, it sat dead in the water for 42 silent minutes, right against the dense mangroves of Lover's Island. What was his reason for idling the yacht in absolute darkness? Brian never mentioned this suspicious pause to Bahamian police, leaving it completely out of his official timeline. Now, detectives believe this quiet zone is where the crime took its final fatal turn. Lynette's stepfather, Bill Hamlet, knew Brian for over 20 years and even tried to mentor him. Bill recalls Brian playing endless mind games, always trying to stay one step ahead of everyone. He believes Brian intentionally chose that path as a calculated distraction to throw off the police scent. This leads to a deeply unsettling possibility that will make your skin crawl. Did he use diving gear to conceal her body in an area no one would think to search? Rescue teams combed the dark waters for 4 exhausting days, but discovered absolutely nothing. But do not assume for a moment that Brian is off the hook. Seasoned prosecutors will tell you that a missing body does not defeat a murder case. True crime history is packed with successful convictions where no victim's body was ever found. The circumstantial evidence mounting against him is a literal mountain, and the tension is rising. Crucial physical evidence secured by the Royal Bahamian Police Force is currently sealed inside a forensics lab, and his window of escape is shrinking. Consider the devastating ripple effect of this entire tragedy. Bill Hamlet recently spoke out about the profound connection he had with Lynette. For 38 beautiful years, she was more than a stepdaughter. She was his absolute baby. She never missed a single Father's Day or birthday, always calling to sing for him. The last time Bill encountered Brian face to face, he stared him dead in the eye and gave a simple command: "Take care of my baby." Now, an unsettling clip from a past network interview has surfaced, and it is absolutely staggering. Brian stared straight into the lens and mumbled that his gravest mistake was failing to protect his wife. He uttered the very words Bill had constantly drilled into him. Was this a rare flash of real remorse? Or a telling slip of the tongue from a suspect buckling under federal scrutiny? Lynette's co-workers from AT&T remember her as a vibrant, radiant soul who brought genuine warmth to every room she entered. But whenever Brian's name came up, their perspective shifted into something deeply unsettling. They shared that Brian was by far the most hostile, manipulative person they had ever met. He made normal workdays a nightmare for staff, entirely contrasting the upbeat vlogger personality he projected online. His mask has completely slipped. As the threat of an imminent murder charge looms over him, social media is buzzing with rumors that Brian has already escaped the country to evade prosecution. However, federal agents just revealed a major update that completely refutes that narrative. They have a clear idea of where he plans to run to avoid arrest. As it turns out, Brian was always obsessed with surviving, totally off the grid, far away from any government authority. Bill and Darlene just blew the lid off a secret that changes everything. Brian has a blood brother in California who owns a secluded cabin hidden up in the mountains. There is absolutely no cell service out there. No electricity, completely swallowed up by the dense wilderness. Hardly anyone in the world even knows the place exists. Brian thought this hidden spot would be his escape route once those federal homicide charges came down. But by coming forward on this broadcast, Lynette's family has totally ruined his last safe haven. The secret is officially blown, and federal agents have flagged his passport, placing him on an active watch list. He cannot board a plane or cross borders without triggering an instant arrest. The clock is ticking loud, and investigators are closing the net by the minute. Lynette's family is in weekly grief counseling just to get through this endless, agonizing nightmare. But they promise to keep fighting until Brian is locked behind bars forever. This is now a full-scale murder investigation, and justice is coming for him. What do you believe actually happened during those 42 silent minutes by the mangroves? Could Brian be holed up in that remote mountain cabin right now? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe to help us keep chasing the truth. Your support keeps Lynette's story alive.